Hey, what's going on? This is Onewheel Soulrider. My name's Ryan Walker. I'm here with Benwheel, Mears, and we're going to be talking the underground and the standings and what this is all about.
What's up,
How's it going,
everyone?
man?
Going well? Coming to you from the trail right now, as you can see. A lot of action on the underground circuit. Yeah. So this is the first video of the standings, and we're gonna get into it.
All right. Yeah, we're having some beers or energy drinks or whatever.
Power
So
juice.
we'll start out. This is our first one. It's going to be real rough. That's okay. That's the way it is. Um, we'll go over what this is all about. So this is a Strava-based one-wheel race circuit. We have 10 tracks throughout the state of California and Nevada. We will be racing all of those until August 1st, which is a Sunday. At that point, all the times that we have are going to be calculated, and the top rider for each segment will get a trophy, and the top uh, men's and women's will get a trophy for all through all the trails, and we'll also be doing a finals.
And maybe talk a little bit about why you started the underground circuit.
Well, I mean, Teddy from Monterey came to me and said, "Hey, we should do a little like local race," and it blew up to this. Basically, I had some ideas that I wanted to do some Strava-based racing. It just kind of snowballed into something much bigger. I'd never expected to have the kind of leaderboard movement that we're having at this point. And the kind of riders that are riding, but I'm really enjoying it. Basically, the big thing is I just want to give some power back to the community. I want to be able to, instead of future motion controlling the venues, I think that the community should control some of that, or at least with this situation.
Yeah, it's been awesome. It's been cool to see everybody getting out there and riding, having a good time, putting down the times.
Yeah,
I th-
you've hit more than anybody else, so you have the official, probably the best knowledge of what's out there.
Yeah, I'm in the lead for most tracks ridden, holding down solid middle, low end of the pack consistently. But it's gotten me out there. Like, so I did last weekend, went down to San Diego for a day, went down to Orange County for a day. Probably would not have gone to those spots if it wasn't for the circuit. From Santa Cruz originally. Jacob, who's the Santa Cruz ambassador, set up the Santa Cruz track right near where my parents live. It's like quarter mile, so I could ride over there. Uh, hit the trail in Monterey, which I had been to Fort Ord before, but have never seen that trail, so it was awesome. So it's a real good way to just find new trails. Like if
That Fort Ord trail is pretty hidden. It would be hard to find even if you knew Fort Ord.
Yeah.
Have you ridden the Santa Cruz Trail before this since you live right across the street?
I rode around in that area, but I don't think I hit that specific segment. Santa Cruz is a maze. It's the most maze-like one. I think there's like seven
Yeah.
or eight forks. You gotta go. You gotta. So it's easy to actually. On one of the times I was riding that segment, I came across a hiker who was lost in the woods, and asked me to help her get back out to the street, which I did. But I didn't carry my board. I would just ride up a ways and wait for her to catch up, then ride up a bit ways. so uh, so yeah, doing my service out there on the trails. But all the trails are super fun. They've all been, hand selected by the locals who know them. So get out there and ride the trails. Really, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, I'm loving the ones I've hit so far. I mean, and what I like is the diversity. You go from, say, Las Vegas, which is a loose desert rocky sand, to say Santa Cruz, which is a hard pack full of roots. And anyone that say comes from a certain area is going to have to modify their ability of riding to that terrain,
Yeah,
which that's what I like about this. You don't, yeah, you get a local advantage to your own track, but if you really want to go overall standings, you can't just hang out in your own track. It's not going to happen. And you'll see this in the standings. The guys that have like top number one place, A 4 is not going to carry you. 4 points for a number 1 isn't going to carry you. A guy who rides all 10 is going to blow you out of the water, even if he's just leaderboarding.
Yeah.
So
I think
that's what I like about it.
strategy, at least one basic strategy, is ride as many of the tracks as you can. Get
Yeah.
on the boards, because you get 1 point. Well, maybe now's a good time to go over the point system, because if you get in the top 10, you get a point, right? So maybe break down the
Yeah.
points for us.
So real quick on that is we talked about how you said just get on the board. When I started this, I kind of thought, well, top 10, you get an easy point. There's so many good riders on these that just getting in the top 10 leaderboard of some of these is actually pretty difficult. You have to be a pretty good rider even just to get in the top 10. So the way it works is if you get first place, you get 4 points. Second place, you get 3. Third place, you get 2. And top 10 leaderboard, you get 1. The way we're working it is that because we have a lot of ties, the tiebreaker is basically a top average. So you're better off ranking high in a lower amount of trails than you are getting, like, say, 10 ones. Basically, we take all your points and divide them by how many trails you have points on, if
Right.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, it's been cool to see the people taking road trips to hit the trails with the goal of, I
yeah.
think, getting on multiple leaderboards. So yeah.
And it goes in waves. It's funny. You see like the San Diego guys come and just demolish like a trail, and all of a sudden they're all over the board. And or like Jeff did a road trip, and Jeff and Raquel, and they just destroy the trails in their path. So, and then you start to see them like, oh man, I know they're going to hit my trail next.
Yeah.
And you're just checking the leaderboard to see how far you're going to fall.
It's only a matter of
Uh,
time, yeah, before somebody comes and rides your local trail and bumps you down a bit.
yeah.
All right.
Uh,
Any more on the racing circuit, the scoring?
No, why don't you go over how to gain this access? Do you have all the different
Yeah.
sites?
Okay, yeah, let's talk about the socials real quick. Okay, so the main place really is the Onewheel Underground Circuit Strava Club. We have over 120 people in here now. It's pretty awesome. And this makes it
Oh,
real
that's a
easy.
little-
Yeah. Makes it real easy. Find, if you go here to posts, you can see all the tracks. We're trying to get video for all the tracks so you can see the actual Strava segment. You can see some video showing you the trail, showing you how to access the trail. So if you're on Strava, which hopefully you are if you're doing the racing, be sure to join the Onewheel Underground Circuit Strava Club. Facebook group is the next one. That's just a fun place to put videos, people chatting, people posting their times. You know, Daniel here took first on his local, so he's going to brag about it. So this is a great place to kind of just hang out, talk to other people, post videos, pictures, all that kind of stuff. Also follow the Underground Race Instagram. Teddy's running this. He's been pretty good about reposting stuff. And so if you tag Underground Race, there's a good chance that it'll get reposted.
Yeah, and I've been pretty impressed how many people are tagging it. It's just blowing up on the Instagram side as far as the retags.
Yeah, so, and a lot of it is leaderboard. So a lot of the things being posted are leaderboard images. But here's them riding. I think this is Santa Cruz right here. My buddy Float Ninja. This was me at the Whoops today. Put up a sticker. We got the Underground Circuit stickers, so keep an eye out for those. Okay, last place you want to check out is the Onewheel Underground Circuit YouTube channel. Here is where we're putting basically the videos of all the tracks. So, you know, do your research before you go ride it. Check out the track of it. Figure it out.
Yeah, I can't say that enough. I know you've done a lot of the YouTube stuff, and like a great example is I think we mentioned it that ganja smoking in or I'm sorry, ganja smuggling in Santa Cruz is kind of tricky to get through. You're going to definitely have to scout it once, and the video will make that a lot easier. Watch the video.
Yeah, and even in the video, I went the wrong way once. I need to run ganja smuggling again because I don't think I had a clean. I didn't have a clean run where I didn't go the wrong way.
Yeah, me too. It's but you know what? That's part of the fun of it is that what so as hard as it is to navigate, people are loving it. Jamie and the guys that are traveling, they spent 2 days there. They must. We'll bring these guys on and talk to them, but the fact that they spent 2 days there means that how
Yeah,
much they like it.
these guys are lucky to have unlimited time. It seems like to spend two
Yeah,
days. I've been hitting 2 or 3 tracks per day.
yeah, I did that and I'm just burnt. Like that's what yeah. Everybody seems to try to hit Monterey and Santa Cruz in the same day, and I'll tell you, that's a long day. It's fun, but it's a lot to cram in one day.
Those ones are probably the closest to each other.
Yeah.
Maybe LA and OC as well. But yeah, Santa Cruz and Monterey is a good combo. You want to charge, you need a charge spot in there too.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
there's a lot of good breweries in Santa Cruz and
Yeah.
Monterey.
Yeah.
So that's not very hard to find. Go over the webpage real quick also.
Okay, so yeah, we actually also have the undergroundrace.com website. This just basically has all the info about the tracks you need. Description, Strava links, parking links, all the kind of info, video links. So just go to the website also.
Where the website
Undergroundrace.com.
comes in handy is that everything gets kind of lost in the mix on Instagram and Facebook. So I think with the website, it's kind of a one-stop shop if you want to try to cut out the excess and just find information. That's a good place, and it'll be building. There'll be more information on there soon.
Yeah, and a lot of times it's like the Strava link is what you need to get. And a tip is once you get the Strava link to the segment, star it because then it'll show up in your segments. And then it's easier to find.
And what's nice is if your friends star an underground segment, you could just look at their starred segment and steal theirs too. So
Yeah,
I found that I follow guys that star segments, and then I try to take as many starred segments. So when I hit places, even if it's not underground, it might be a good trail. So
definitely. All right. I think we're now ready to get into the rankings, right? We got
So let me go back real quick. The reason they're numbered is basically from a north to south, just to try to make it simplified. Everything's got a location and an actual trail name. So let's hit Tahoe Sidewinder. You and I have not hit Sidewinder. Am I correct?
I have not hit it yet, but I'm planning to hit it right after Shredfest.
Um, Sidewinder is a very famous trail, probably the most famous one-wheel trail out there that I'm familiar with. Um, what do you know about it, Ben?
I've seen some pretty sweet videos. My buddy Jamie, aka Onewheel Jungles, told me about it. Says it's one of his favorite, so I'm looking forward to hitting it for sure.
Yeah.
Who's our ambassador for Tahoe?
Jamie, and I'm gonna tear up his last name. Martian,
Marchitano?
Marciano.
Okay.
Yeah. He's gonna be our ambassador for that. And if you were following what was going on the last couple weeks, there was a real battle going on at Lake Tahoe. Jamie said, "Hey, everybody, I got first," and then all these guys came in, and it just got all jumbled up, and Dave got kicked down. But when it all the dust settled, Dave Stewart came back out on top. So, also known as Tahoe Dave. Obviously, I can't
Yeah.
say for sure, but I think Tahoe Dave's probably the one that probably first rode this, but we'll probably talk to him later.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so it was an absolute battle.
And then
Yeah,
Dave got 5:33. Then we go down and it's just adding seconds, right? So Austin's
yeah.
1 second up from that. Jamie's plus 6 seconds, Jeff plus 11 seconds, etc. And then
So
the 14 at the bottom. What is that?
so that is how many people are on the leaderboard total. So there's 4 names on that leaderboard that we're not even seeing.
Okay.
So a couple things. Obviously, Austin super fast, just destroyed Vegas. Neil, who's already got a spot in the one wheel racing league. So Neil and Austin both have a spot in the one wheel racing league. Obviously, 2 really fast guys coming out of Sacramento. So they're both up there. Jeff battling out, and I want to give kudos to Raquel. Man, she is hanging with the boys, and that's a tough trail to hang. That's the top name. You look at that; that's the top names in one wheel right there.
Yeah.
That ain't. There's just everybody. That's a tough trail to even just get top 10.
Yeah, for sure. Which I think we're going to see more and more of that as people ride more of the trails.
Yeah, and so like I said, we'll talk to other guys who've ridden it. I don't want to talk too much out of hand because I haven't ridden it, but it looks like a super fast, flowy, slightly downhill, just charge through. Would you say that that's how it
Yeah.
looks in videos?
Looks like it's got some cool rock features in it too. I think
Yeah,
most of them have kind of an option like the trail goes around or you can charge the rocks, drop them and stuff.
yeah.
I'm looking
It,
forward
it
to riding it for sure.
yeah, I mean I'm definitely going up there. Um, Basically it's open season up there. The snow's melted enough, it's dry enough that it's ready to go. Yeah, 2 months, 3 months. Well, 2 months for underground to hit it, but probably 3 or 4 months before the snow starts falling again. So,
All right.
all right,
Let's move on to the next. Number 2, Sacramento. The
Sacramento.
Float Life River Run.
Yeah. So basically, what happened was we wanted to definitely represent Sacramento, and Float Life came about. Technically, Austin is the ambassador for this trail, but obviously Jeff McCosker, the runner or the owner of Float Life, wanted to get involved. So we have 2 ambassadors there. They found a really fun trail that's just down the street from the float factory. I haven't ridden it yet, but it looks pretty fun. And I think the big benefit of this is just the community aspect of it. Go hang out at Float Life, ride down the river to your trail, hit it, see how fast you can go. It's already got some decent names on it, some really good names. And I really think that's going to change. That's going to blow up, I think, after this week, is
Yeah.
my thoughts.
Yeah, I'm planning to go right from Shredfest to Sacramento to ride this one. And
I might,
I'm
might
gonna
go tomorrow.
I'm gonna guess that you can charge at the Float Life shop. I would sure hope so. Not confirmed
We'll,
yet, but most
we'll
likely.
definitely have Jeff on here
Yeah.
soon and confirm how that works. But yeah, I mean there is some charge spots nearby. All that information's on the website and the Facebook pages. So I mean, even if say Float Life is closed, it's weekend or something like that, there's
Yeah,
still
yeah.
options. We have a video up, and I obviously watched it. In true Float Life fashion, it's got a nudge in
Oh,
the
yeah.
middle of it,
Perfect.
and it does. I can't say it doesn't look super tech to me. It looks there's sections that are just straight like pinners, which kind of scare me a little bit because I'm not a little guy.
Yeah.
Those 26 mile an hour when you gotta go fast. There's a couple of those, but surprisingly, Neil's got the top spot on that. Austin's right below him, and Floaty at number 3. And Jeff, you're gonna have to step up your game, man. I mean, this is your trail, and you got number 4. I'm calling out Jeff, but you'll see later on. He's destroying me, so I have nowhere to talk.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
Raquel's in there. Some names I don't really know. So there's 18 people on that leaderboard, which isn't too shabby. So there's some people hidden on there that we're not seeing also, and that shows you how hard it is to even just get on leaderboards at this point. So
Yeah. All right, let's move to the next. Got number
cool.
3, Santa Cruz. Gone just
You're
Wheeling.
home.
My
So you,
hometown,
you
literally my
Mhm.
hometown. Yeah, I grew up like across the street from the trail, basically.
Nice.
And I grew up mountain biking all those trails, so it's been pretty awesome to go back and ride them on the one wheel. I'm sure a lot of other people have kind of experienced that. You know, you
Yeah.
grow up like skating places or mountain biking places, and now you can actually one wheel them. Pretty sweet.
Yeah. Santa Cruz is I've ridden around Santa Cruz, and maybe you can kind of go more detail. It's the mecca of mountain biking, probably in the world. Would you agree? I mean, the Santa Cruz bicycles, Santa Cruz skateboards.
It's a mecca of a lot of things. I think yeah, surfing is one of the main things it's known for. Skateboarding also, Santa Cruz skateboards represent. And the mountain biking scene there is awesome because there is a lot of awesome trails. A lot of them through Redwood Forest, like I'm here right now. So yeah, it's got a lot going. It's kind of I think it at one point it was one of like it won like best city for like outdoor lovers or something because there's awesome nature, awesome beaches, and then of course a lot of awesome trails. So yeah, challenge in Santa Cruz is making sure the mountain bikers don't hate you. You know, like
Yeah.
showing respect on the trails, basically yielding to the mountain bikers all at all times, showing respect. And for the most part, they're all pretty cool, and they're all kind of amazed that you're out there on a one wheel.
Yeah, that's my experience. Is everybody was pretty happy to see us, and they were pretty impressed that we were riding the kind of terrain that we were riding.
Yeah, for sure. And
So yeah, I think the hard thing about Santa Cruz is there's so much good stuff. It was hard to find the right trail. We had
yeah,
to find a trail that was easily accessible and fun, and places that maybe you're not going to get in trouble with, like the law or other mountain bikers. So that was kind of the juggle, but I think we found the right one. What do you think?
yeah. I mean, a big challenge for finding any trail is getting a trail that's not going to be too crowded with mountain bikers, hikers, joggers, because that will just mess up your time as soon as you have to slow down for anybody.
Yeah.
So the Santa Cruz is pretty good because it's a relatively empty trail. I mean, I actually know that the Santa Cruz guys they didn't want to give away some of their gems,
Yeah, which is
which
understandable. There, I'll tell you, let everybody in on a secret. Every area didn't necessarily want to give away their gems. Some of
yeah,
them did, some of them didn't, but I will say that these are all really good
yeah,
trails.
it's a great trail nonetheless. I mean, there are better trails. I have ridden a lot of other trails in Santa Cruz. There's some awesome ones. If you
Don't
go
tell
to
anybody.
yeah, if you go to Santa Cruz, just hook up with like Sean and Jacob, and
Yeah,
they did a park and ride where we basically went all the way from the top of the mountain down to the ocean. It was awesome.
yeah,
And then
yeah.
they
That is
drove
an
back
amazing.
up. So
And again, you couldn't do that with the underground just because that was like an all day. That was a whole afternoon.
yeah,
I mean, as much as I would love to share that, that's a whole different style, and you couldn't race that trail that you're talking about.
no,
That's
no,
just
no,
more of trying to survive. Some of that stuff is just
yeah.
insane.
I mean that's another consideration for these trails is like ones that you can run multiple times on a single charge. Um, Summer that's actually a little bit more difficult, but Santa Cruz is a good one where you could probably run it at least 3 or 4 times on a stock battery. I think
Yeah, I would say
something
so.
like that, and easy access to like you don't have to ride miles to get to the start. You know, it's just pretty much right there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So a little breakdown on Santa Cruz, where I'll kind of start it off, is it's the hardest to navigate out of all the underground trails. The first time you ride it, you might go, "Oh man, this is a little complicated." But once you ride it once and you kind of figure it out, I think to me, it was pretty easy once I got the first run out of the way.
Yeah.
We're doing our best to mark everything. So my recommendation is look at the Strava map, look at the videos, look at the description, slow ride it once, and then just run it. Would you
Yeah,
agree?
I've been basically doing a scouting run on all of them because you want to know like what to watch out for, like where the
Yeah.
lines are, and when you're just if you're going top speed on your first run, that's could be dangerous, you know. So if you have the
Yeah.
battery and you have the time, I would say try to do a scouting run first. Check it
And
out.
There may be a couple trails, I'll explain when we get to them, that you can kind of go a little faster, but Santa Cruz ganja smuggling is not the one that you want to run full speed first, or you'll
Yeah,
die.
there's times on it where you can go haul, but then you'll suddenly come into like a bunch of roots. There was like a log kind of nudge drop that threw me, and then there was a root section that was kind of gnarly. A couple little there'll be parts where the tree is like right next to the trail, and there's a root that you got to go over. There's like
Yeah.
unavoidable routes on it basically, so get ready for some
Mostly
bumpiness.
that bottom section, that 2/3 down where it gets super rooty, which actually was my favorite part. I enjoyed it, and I really think that the guys that like to get airtime or fly, like the Austin hasn't hit it, Neil hasn't hit it yet. Jeff, obviously number one, and I think it's because I'm just going out on a limb. I think because he likes the airtime. He's not
Yeah,
afraid to do drops. He's not, and really, there's some sections where you're going to not be on the ground.
yeah, and well, I'm looking at the top three. So I know Devin, he's a Santa Cruz local guy. He loves doing drops. Max, a lot of people know Max, Mad Max
Yeah, Mad
from
Max, yeah,
from
that
San Jose, so he's pretty local. I guess this would be the closest track to where he lives.
and
He
it
lo-
makes sense. He did well on it too.
yeah,
The kind
he
of
he loves doing drops. So people who like doing drops and bumps and bonks are gonna like this one.
yeah, you got Raquel who's doing. She was at number two, but she got bumped down when Devin and Max came in. Um, you said Float Ninja. He's the local up there.
No, Float Ninja is my buddy Joe. He lives in Las Vegas actually. He's
Oh,
the
that's
yeah,
awesome.
he's the
I didn't
guy
know that
who
was.
he
I didn't know that was.
basically, yeah, he's the one who like set up Let It Ride and was like running that. It was 702 One Wheels, I think.
Yeah, so Joe is the ambassador for Let It Ride Vegas section. We'll go back on that later. Honestly, I didn't know that was Joe because
Yeah,
it's
him and Jamie and my other buddy Nikki and Doc, also from Las Vegas, are they're all doing a road trip. Like they're doing
nice.
like 10 days of trails or something like that. I'm
Lucky
jealous. I'm
them.
jealous. Yeah, they'll be at Shredfest, so say
Yeah.
hi to them.
All right.
Okay, so let's get on to the next track here. Monterey, number 4. I don't know. This one might be my favorite because it's just fast the whole way. It's a loop,
I'm gonna say it's probably my favorite too. At least some for so far what I've hit.
and it's you. And I know that this was kind of what inspired the name Shack Attack. You feel like
Yeah.
you're getting barreled like on a wave because the trees are like pretty low, and you got like I was definitely worried that I was gonna get like clotheslined or like clipped on a tree. So you're like down low the whole time. You
I got
got
one wheeler passing by my house. Yeah.
bring them on. Have you guys heard of the underground circuit?
Come on over.
Are you on Strava?
Yeah, no, I love this one, and you hit the nail on the head. The Shack Attack, which comes from Pro Ride Paul, who lives in Monterey, and is a total surfer. And I saw your video. You talk about how you're shackled, you're shacked in there, and how you almost destroyed your camera just trying
No,
to get
yeah.
through there, huh?
I'll put the video of that. So I had the camera on the selfie stick, but the turns are tight, and the bush, there's hedges that are like right there. So I made the turn fine, but my camera didn't. So the camera got jacked. I hit the camera on the bushes twice, and luckily no scratches. But yeah, that one's fun. It's tight. You feel like you're in a trench, or like there's times where the trees are right over your head. So that was the
So
one. That one I definitely had to get the lowest on.
I shouldn't have to say this, but please wear helmets on this. I snowboarded for years and I didn't wear helmets. And I look back and you know what? I'm not going to be safety police, but especially for Shack Attack because I have hit my head pretty hard. But I just bounce off them because I got my helmet on.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah. Helmets are good not just for crashes, but they're good for low hanging branches also.
yeah.
So yeah,
So something cool on this. Neil is number one. Neil rode this at kind of before. we even officially started the underground. I mean, we did, but it was kind of like we're testing because Neil was one of the first guys we talked to. Neil's time has held over the last like month and a half. And that says a lot because no times have held except for Neil's. So I think there's some room for improvement on this. I think the times are tight, but I think they can get better, honestly.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna ride it again on my way up to Shredfest because there's that last right hand turn or second to last. It's like
Yeah.
this really sharp bank turn, and it's easy to like overshoot and go straight and not hit the turn.
Yeah.
And that was something I think I never actually nailed successfully. So I gotta go back and try
So
that
you
again.
got to run it like a couple times, and I'm the whole time I'm running, I'm like, okay, where's that turn? Where's that turn? And then you pop out of the trees, and once you start to
Yeah.
visualize, you can kind of come wide and get that turn. So
There's like
yeah,
a, yeah, there's a berm that you need to ride up before you turn to the right.
you
Keep an eye,
definitely can
yeah.
dial this in, but I'm not going to give you all the hints on. I don't want anybody. I'm number 6 in there, and I'd like
Yeah.
to move up.
Everybody,
So,
keep the tips to yourself. This is heated competition now.
but really going over you got Teddy, who's number 3, solid time. Teddy's the ambassador and pretty much the one of the visionaries or the visionary of the underground. So it's cool to see him in there. Jamie running through this week, hitting it. Raquel again, hanging with the guys, and Paul at number 8. So another ambassador for that trail, and kind of he was the one that originally found that trail, which it's in Fort Ord, but it's in an off beaten path that most people would never be able to find.
Yeah, and that one was pretty empty. Keep an eye out for Becky. She told us that that trail is called Becky's Trail,
Oh, really?
named after herself. But
Oh,
she's like this really nice old lady who is out there like doing trail maintenance. Like she was out there with a little spade or whatever, fixing like filling divots and stuff. So it was pretty awesome. She had a dog, so that slowed us down a couple times. But she stopped and talked to us, and she was like really happy that we were riding the trail.
oh,
She
that's
wasn't
cool.
upset at all. She was like stoked that we were out there. So keep an eye.
I haven't met her yet. And honestly, one of the things I like about this trail is I don't think I've ever really seen the fast tree trail. I've never seen anybody on it. I mean, for me, I've never had any traffic. It's off the beaten path.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to find. Like it's easy if you know how to get there, but you wouldn't just happen upon it really. I don't think. So when
Yeah.
we were there, we only saw Becky and like maybe like one hiker. It was nice and empty.
Yeah.
All right, let's
All
move
right.
on to the next. Here we go to number 5, Fresno. This is your home turf, right?
Yeah, land of the dirt people, Fresno. No one wants to come to
Beautiful
Fresno.
Fresno.
Uh, I don't want everybody knowing, but Fresno's not as bad as long as you get off the 99 freeway. But um, honestly, I don't want a whole bunch of people hitting my trail and ruining my times, but I'm going to say this is probably one of my top threes.
Really?
Um, yeah, and Raquel said that it was her favorite.
Oh wow.
So it is
What
not.
what was
I think it's
what was Jeff's quote? People who made this trail are fucking insane or something?
well,
Psychos?
that's because they went past the finish line. So
Oh.
uh, we'll have to talk to Jeff about it. I haven't really spoke to him directly, but
Why did
I
he
think
say
yeah.
that?
So where the finish line is, and by the way, it's pretty obvious where the finish line is. So I think they were just probably beat, and they were in the zone, and they would just go go go. But once you hit the finish line, it gets really really rocky and technical and almost unrideable.
Oh, okay.
It is fun. We do ride the backside, but you don't want to race it. It's some hiking, some like just hold on to your, trying to get through the rocks and stuff like that. So but so here's the trick with Fresno. It's 3 miles. It's well longer than anything else that
Hmm.
we have. And that kind of comes from me. I'm the long distance rider turned trail rider, and I like the endurance aspect of it. So it's 11 minutes, and it's hard to stay focused that long.
Hmm.
11 minutes for Jeff, which is fast. So by the time you get to the end, it starts getting a little scary because you're like, man, I got to hold this. I don't want to fall because I'm going to lose my time.
Yeah.
And you start getting tired, and even mentally, you're getting a little mentally drained, and you're like, I got to stay fast. I got to stay fast. So it's the
Yeah.
last quarter, in my opinion, or the last little rush that is where this is won or lost, in my
I haven't
opinion.
ridden this one yet, but I felt the same way on San Luis Obispo because that one's pretty long too. And towards
Yeah,
the end, you're like, my legs are starting to hurt, but I can't slow down. Push, push,
yeah.
push.
It's definitely got that feel, but times two.
Okay.
Or times it's not as tech as the hazards in San Luis Obispo, but it's a lot longer. So yeah, you're really gonna have to push through some burn,
Okay.
which I like. So Jeff came through with Raquel, and they just dominated it.
Yeah.
They destroyed me, which kind of made me sad.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna totally redeem myself.
Yeah. That's the
Um,
goal, right? Get back out there.
I don't
Yeah.
know. Honestly, I don't know if I can take Jeff's time. We'll see. I mean, I have a couple months that if I do, I'll be pretty proud of myself, but I doubt it.
Yeah. Jeff and Raquel are like the power spouse couple that you got to watch out for coming through your
Well, just to
trails.
give you a time of how fast Jeff's time is, and I'm not saying these other guys kind of probably slow rode it. Jeff is almost 10 minutes faster than number 10. Which is Corey. And Corey's not a bad rider. He probably just cruised through it a little bit, but it still shows you how fast these guys are. And there's a lot of, so this is the kind of trail you could actually probably fall on, get back on the board, and still win because there's so much time to make up.
Hmm.
I think speed is the key here.
Interesting.
Speed with a little bit of ability to mess up. Where like Shack Attack, you can't fall. You fall, you're done because everybody's within seconds. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, it's good. It's a fast, flat. It's got some
Huh.
rollers, but it's right on the lake. If you're afraid of heights, it might kind of cause you some problems because you're literally like right on the hillside, kind of like hazards where you can kind of be on the mountain's edge. But I
Yeah.
like it. It's my home. I found it, and we ride it all the time. So come on out to the
Nice.
land of the dirt, people.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to hitting that one. Hopefully, I'll
It's
have time on the way back from Shredfest.
It's going to get hot, so I suggest that if you do come during the summer, early morning or sunset, and maybe bring some swimsuit like board shorts, so jump in the water when you're done, because the lake's
Oh,
right there.
okay. Good tip.
I learned that from Vegas. Those guys, they
Yeah.
ride in the hot heat, and they do it because they stay wet.
Yeah. Yeah. Stay
So,
wet out there. All right, let's
all
get the
right,
next one. We're halfway done now. Number 6,
slow.
slow. Hazards Peak.
I'm gonna try to be a little more quiet on this one, and I want to see what you think. 'Cause
Oh, hey, look, I'm on the board on this one. Sweet.
you beat
Only,
you
only
beat me.
because only 9 people have ridden it. This one is really fun. It's, it's kind of like a bit treacherous to get up to, just because you have to go up a really steep switchback. There's definitely times you have to like hike and carry. But like Jamie and Nikki were there a couple days ago and they figured it out, although they called me to ask directions. Hit up the local ambassador, Daniel, because he's usually down to ride if he's free, and it helps having somebody show you. Unfortunately, on this one, I didn't record like an intro to how you get to the start point. If I ever go back, I'm gonna do that. But the trail itself is super fun, kind of techy, has some rock spots, but then and it has probably the best view of any track because you have just this like sweeping view of the ocean. A lot of downhill. It's like a good descent. Some real fast, flowy dirt parts towards the end. And on this, so I was only able to do 2 runs. The first was like a scouting filming run, and then the second was my race run. I crashed on it actually, but I think I somehow beat you still, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
you must have it dialed. I didn't honestly, I didn't get to ride it too much either. You know what? The thing about this is it tires you out pretty quick, huh? Like anybody that thinks they're gonna ride it all day, probably not, right? Would you agree?
No, yeah, this one is definitely tiring because it's
Yeah.
longer too. I didn't use it, but I think you said there was a charging spot right down at Spooner Ranch, which was like
Yeah.
pretty close to where you park.
Yeah, you could
Um,
literally just ride down to it and plug into this hidden plug. I marked it with a sticker, and it's all the information's on the websites and on the Facebook. So that's what's nice about this is even though it's in the middle of nowhere, you can still charge and ride if
yeah,
you want.
if you have the stamina.
Yeah.
I think Daniel
Um,
said on like a stock board you could maybe get 3 runs, 2 or 3,
I
CB,
would
JW
per,
maybe 4 or 5.
I wrote it on stock, and I would probably not suggest trying more than two.
Yeah, you don't want to
Um,
get too low battery. So do it
yeah,
twice and then charge
you
maybe.
might be able to pull it off, but you're really gonna be like low voltage, and it does get tech at some spots, and probably not a good idea to be like at 10% running this thing.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
just go charge. At least you don't even need to top off if it's something you don't want, because really, you're all regen. So, the idea that you need some high voltage to like do any climbs or anything, it's not really necessary because you're going downhill. Um,
yeah.
but yeah, I like it. I would say the ones I've rode, probably maybe my top two or three. I like it because it changes so much from the top to the bottom. Like you go from rock to like just flow to, you just don't know what's around the next corner.
Yeah,
And
it's
the view.
cool. You go through the eucalyptus grove at one point. There's a downhill with like paved like a cobblestone thing that they put in. It's kind of
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, no, I like it. So we got Daniel, who's the ambassador. He's at top. Paul, Paul comes from Santa Barbara, I believe. Um, Jamie's obviously running. So the Santa Barbara guys have been running around, and so Paul, Edge, who's Marco, they're all Santa Barbara guys. So they put their stamp on it, which is kind of cool. And obviously you and me kind
Yeah.
of bringing up the rear.
And then Luca, I think that's Luca. I think that was just a random guy that was out there, and Jamie and Nikki ran into him on the trail.
Oh, really?
And I
Oh, that's
think I
cool.
don't know, I can't confirm, but I think he was probably out there because of the circuit. Like he might have been out there just because he figured out the trail from
He
looking at
he's
Strava.
He's on a couple of the other boards, I believe. He's ridden at least one other one, so
Yeah,
we'll see him probably later on.
which is pretty cool. That happened in LA at the Whoops. Is like a bunch of us went out. The San Diego guys came up, and then we ran into a random one wheeler out there who had figured out the trail from our Strava thing and from the video I made. And he even said, like, I don't think I would have been able to figure out how to get to the trail if I hadn't watched your video. So watch the videos and yeah. All right,
Yeah, that's cool.
let's check out the next one. Number 7, Vegas.
Vegas.
This one is like the outlier, right? Because everybody traveled to Vegas for the races. So you got people from all over the country, maybe all over the world.
So let me
Um,
give you the reasoning on this. This was early in the underground. We were trying to build a little bit of notoriety. And what a better way to support our buddies at Let It Ride, Joe. And I mean, they did an awesome job. It was a lot of fun. So it was like, hey, we're going to be there. We're going to do Strava runs. Why not make one of them that kind of works for us, one of the underground segments? And number three was my favorite because it was short, it was techie, it was different than anything else we have. What's your thoughts on it?
yeah, I think 3 or 4 was maybe my favorite out of the 4 that we did. But this was a great choice for it. I mean, I'm glad I had my Strava going because there's no way I'm going back out to Vegas to run that one just for the race.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people are that way. So that one is like the Vegas guys have maybe more of an advantage because they can keep going back and running it more, whereas I think most people probably aren't going to make it back out there to ride it again.
Yeah.
But yeah, Vegas was, chunky, rocky, um, hard to keep speed through it a lot of the time, but obviously, the pros are doing it. So that was a good one. And like, that's probably going to be the most kind of one wheel celebrity list, right? You got Bodie on there,
Yeah.
Kyle, Isaac, Austin up top.
So to show you how deep that list goes, uh, there's
37 people, right? Yeah.
yeah, 37. That's pretty deep, and that list is the who's who. So yeah, I mean Austin. So the video of Austin's run is on the website, and it's fast. It doesn't do it justice because if you haven't rode it, but it's crazy fast.
Yeah. Let's take a quick look at the leaderboard overall for that one.
Yeah, so you got
Because there's a lot.
Austin,
Yeah, there's a lot of people on that one.
Isaac, Kyle, Dave, Neil, man, but Brandon, Liqueur, Bodie. Yeah, I mean it's just I don't even know how I made top 10, to be
Yeah.
honest.
Nice work.
Yeah, I was hanging on for dear life on that run, by the way. I got lucky on that one. So
30,
yeah.
37 people. I'm holding down number 27.
Yeah, it was a fun one. I honestly think that's probably locked up. I would love to see some of the Las Vegas guys come out and maybe put some times on the board. But I hate to say it, I don't know if it's even possible to go faster than what Austin did. That's just my guess. Prove me wrong, but
Yeah, you never know.
I don't know. And it's so hot out there right now too that I mean these guys are troopers. They ride in the heat, but I just don't know for sure if you're really going to get any standing changes out there.
Yeah.
I think that one's pretty locked. So,
Okay, moving on to the
all right,
next.
you're you're the man on this one.
Number 8, Los Angeles, the Whoops. Yeah, so this is based on the local LA ambassador for this one. It's pretty funny because we were already doing Strava racing on this before the underground circuit, and I think it was even the day of when you contacted me to let me know, and I said, "Oh, we were running it earlier today." uh, so yeah, the Whoops is fun. It's fast, kind of rocky, but not too bad. But then it's got just lots of little tabletops and rollers and stuff. And yeah, it's like I think 0.6 miles, and it's easy. You can do lots of runs on it because the trailhead is pretty close to the parking, and then you basically just go up and down it as many times as you want. This standing just changed pretty drastically yesterday when my buddy Drew logged this number 1 time and took first place away from Floaty by like
Yeah, that's
10
huge.
seconds or 11 seconds or something.
So tell me something. Tell me about Andrew because I don't know Andrew, and he's definitely making a name for himself on this. What's up with Andrew?
He's fast. So on Instagram, he's always underscore carving and also floatified. He uses fins, so that could be an advantage.
Yeah.
He ordered WTF rails, but didn't get them yet. So this is on standard rails. I ride with him a lot. Yeah, he's fast. He's kind of a smaller guy, I guess, so that helps. Um, yeah, I wasn't there when he got this first place time, but somebody else was there with him who can vouch. He told me he hit 23 miles an hour on the straightaway, where there's really
Nice.
only like one straightaway right at the beginning. So I told him he needs to go start riding all the other trails too. I think he's planning to hit OC tomorrow, so maybe
Okay.
we'll see him show up on that leaderboard. I would expect we probably will.
Well,
But yeah, shout out Drew. Good job.
Floaty's a good dude, and I like, I'm always a Floaty fan, but nothing against Floaty. I love seeing these guys, like these local no-namers, come up and make a name for themselves. So that's kind of cool. Do you know Jordan? I don't know.
Yeah, so Jordan is one of the San Diego guys. I met him last weekend when he came up. We could just list San Diego people. So Jordan is from San Diego. Victor is from Orange County. He's the Orange
Orange
County
County.
ambassador. Tim is San Diego. Kyle, Wheel Fun Stuff, San Diego. Although Kyle had put that time in before we even started the circuit. So he
Yeah.
had ridden it a long time ago. Uh, so he needs to come back and do it again.
Yeah,
uh,
I'll be honest, I'm kind of worried to see. Not worried. But Kyle and um, who's the other San Diego guy? Kyle and
AJ?
yeah, AJ. I'm kind of nervous to see them jump both feet in.
Yeah.
They're on the boards, but it's honestly kind of like they're on the boards because they were already on the boards when the stuff started. So
Yeah,
um,
so people ran this one because this segment was set up before. Actually, Floaty, I think, set it up. And Floaty's my buddy too, and we were out there riding it. I think he put down his previously top time the same day when you contacted me about the circuit because there was a bunch of us out there running it. So I know for a fact that he's not happy that Drew took his spot, so he's gonna go back
he'll be
and try
back
to take
out.
it back for sure.
Cool.
And then, well, keep going down the list. We got Robert, aka Soup, who he's an LA guy. He runs Flux Movement, if you heard of them.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know that. I know Flux, but I didn't know he was the guy that
Yeah,
ran it.
yeah, he's fast. Jamie, aka Onewheel Jungle. Travis is another San Diego guy, as is Ricky. So
So we'll
what's
talk
that?
about Travis later because
Yeah,
he's kind of up and comer, not
yeah,
on this leaderboard, but he's kind of making a name for himself on some of these. So
yeah.
yeah,
So San Diego, I think 7 people came up. It was cool because I led a public group ride, the first one I've done in a year actually because of COVID. Who's that? Does you want to pop in?
yeah, my daughter wants in on this.
And so yeah, I led a group ride in Santa Monica. San Diego guys were like, "Oh, we want to come up for this. So could you show us the whoops during the day?" The group ride was at night. So I think there was 7 of them that came up, and yeah, they shredded it up. So
Nice. Yeah, we
LA,
got 33 people on that leaderboard, which is huge.
yeah, I think I'm like 16 now or something. It's another case where I was in the top 10 when there was, maybe 15 people on it, and then as soon as people start riding it, I get bumped down a little bit.
So what's your honest opinion? You think you get in the top 10? Get back up
I
there?
actually went and rode it today. I don't know. I don't think I can. Maybe I don't. Yeah, I'm not that fast.
It's definitely on my list. I'm coming down.
The main challenge with the whoops, for me at least, is going down them because there's steep drops. So
Yeah. You
you gotta
drag-
you gotta push into it because if you don't, you're gonna drag your tail and lose control. So it's like this fine balance, of just the ups and downs of them and just dialing it in perfectly.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on to the next.
Orange County.
Number 9, Orange County. So this is like the newest one. I think we basically finalized this one last week.
Yeah, so
And
it's not full yet. And a
it's
little bit of backstory. We had another trail that was not really working out. You rode it. It was a little too rough.
yeah, Rage Fire. So it's rideable, but it's sketchy. there's there's steep hills and like the steepness isn't so much the issue, it's just they're bumpy and like rutted out. So people can ride it. Victor, like, he can lay down good times, but we wanted to try to make it a bit more accessible to everybody, not just, top riders. And we want to try to have trails be completely rideable for like medium to expert level. Definitely on this one, there'd be times where you'd want to like hike and like carry the board down the hill because it was just too gnarly.
Yeah.
So to make it a bit more fun for everyone, we changed it from Rage Fire to Waterworks. And
So
Waterworks is
what
super fun. It's worth
it
riding.
looks fun. I haven't ridden it, but you have, and I know that it's a very popular mountain bike trail down Orange County. I'm from Orange County, so but I haven't ridden this, but it looks like, would you say it's a little different than anything we got? Because it's got some really tight switchbacks and
It's
downhill
got
and
some good downhill with the switchbacks. The mountain bikers, you got to keep an eye out for them. There is one part where they merge into the trail, but it's at the bottom of the hill so you can see them. Um, it's got some fast spots. It goes like through a riverbed, so I don't think we're gonna have to deal with water at all during the summer. But so it's pretty cool, yeah. And there's like bridges you go over. There is a steep kind of techie downhill that's bumpy. Can put up the video of that. And yeah, there's a mountain. You go through a little mountain bike jump area, but you don't have to hit the jumps. But there's some up and downs there. So yeah, it's a real fun one, and you can go fast too. Like especially when you get down the hill. So
So would you
check it out.
agree this one? You would agree that this one's pretty much wide open. I mean, Travis's time looks good, but I'm assuming that there's a lot, even more room for improvement. What do you
Oh
think?
yeah, I mean, because we haven't even filled the board yet. So
Yeah.
Travis has a good time. I was happy with my like 5 minutes or whatever, but I think
Yeah.
I probably could do it faster.
I mean, nothing against these times. I'm sure they're great, but I think that you're gonna see some. That's what I've seen with these trails is if you go too early, you're like, "Yeah, first," and then
Yeah,
it's just like you just keep getting bumped down. So it's almost nice to like let somebody else forge the times, and then you can at least chase that time.
yeah.
At
You
least
need
that's
somebody
what
to
I
like
found.
set the benchmark that you're then hitting.
Yeah,
It's funny too hearing people. I've heard a few people say this now. It's like they can be faster if they're actually chasing somebody instead of
yeah.
just going for a time. So it's maybe that's a strategy. Have your buddy who's a little bit faster than you go in front of you and try to catch up with him.
Well, I'm thinking that's, nothing against Raquel, but I think that's probably one of her secrets. I know that, she's just holding on, trying to keep up with Jeff, and she's killing it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that one's fun. Anybody who goes and rides it now can get ninth or 10th, so get your name on the board.
I mean, there are some good trail riders in Orange County. Well, and I think what's holding San Diego is you're gonna want you. It's kind of that like it's at the end of the state, so it's gonna take like a road trip to get down there. So we'll see what happens when they start invade. We start getting an invasion down south. But same goes with these guys. I mean, they're gonna have to come up north,
Yeah.
a little bit out of their comfort area. They're gonna have to probably travel a lot farther.
Yeah. I mean,
So we'll see. It's gonna be interesting.
I'm in a fortunate spot cuz I'm in LA, which is kind of central, and then
Yeah.
my family's in Santa Cruz, so I definitely will be going up there. So it's kind of a bit easier to go. I can go north or south. But definitely, people are into it. Max
Yeah.
came all the way down to San Diego. He was actually just randomly was riding San Diego the same day I was there. So I think people are starting to plan some road trips around the circuit tracks, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah. And that shows you how fast Travis is because Max is fast.
Yeah.
So Travis isn't the leader there just because he's the local. He's got I don't know him, but he must be super fast, and we'll see
Well, yeah.
that when we get.
Let's move to the next, which is San Diego. So when I was in San Diego, Max took first, and then Travis came back like I don't know a few days later or something and took it back because I think he
Yeah.
might have it. So yeah, local ambassador is LT, fourth place here. Um, all these guys I think are San Diego pretty much. They are, except
Yeah.
except for Max. I'm not sure who Patrick is, but I think all these other guys are. And Scott, he won. He won the Vegas race for, I think, over 50 category. I rode in Vegas with him on the strip. Cool guy. And yeah, I don't know. I think maybe Kyle just hasn't really been in the racing. I'm kind of guessing that his time on here was from before we set up the
It
circuit
is.
tracks.
It is. Well, so we'll see if they actually throw their hat in the ring. It's cool if they don't. I get it. It's not for everybody, but I am kind of worried to see what happens if they start getting serious about it,
Yeah, yeah.
like because I mean, I don't think these times that Kyle has put down are serious times, and he's still on the boards. So,
Yeah. Even when he's
we'll
not
see.
trying. I think
Yeah.
I think I was tied with him on this one. Maybe not. At one point on one of the tracks, I was tied with Kyle, and somebody said, "Oh, that's cool. You're tied with a pro." And I said, "Yeah, but I don't think he knew he was racing." So it doesn't really count then.
Yeah.
So yeah, but so this is bow tie. It's pretty chunky. It's got some like drops, like kind of not like drops, but like just steep downhill that are all bumpy. Definitely some rocky sections. It reminded me of Vegas actually. It's like kind of the most similar to Vegas out of any of the other ones. Kind of deserty. Gets hot out there.
So there was a little bit of not a stir, but I really think that in general the San Diego guys, they like to go fast. A lot of their other segments that they run down there are kind of like straight, just go fast type stuff. So I think it threw people off that we picked this one because it's like, man, a lot of these guys don't want the tech stuff, but
Yeah.
but it's blowing up. I mean, guys like it, and I think it was a good choice for a lot of different reasons. Accessibility, not an easy trail, because to me, I don't really want to just see how fast I can go in a straight line. So I think it
Yeah.
was a good. It was nothing
Yeah.
against those San Diego guys, but they just like I can't keep up with those guys in a straight line. Period. So. Um, I mean, is it worth the trip down there? Would you say is it an enjoyable trail?
I mean, it was challenging. It's
Yeah,
definitely worth the trip, but it's not going to be the one you're going to go the fastest on.
yeah.
Like it was challenging. The first couple times I came off the board, I was actually real stoked. I think on my last one, which was my best time, I stayed on the board the whole time. Just happy for that part, but it's fun. But yeah, you're not going to be going as fast unless you're able to, bomb the rocks and bumps like at top speed. But yeah, get down there, check it out. Okay,
All right,
is that the last track? I think it
that's the
is.
last track. We can go over
Okay,
overall standings.
all right.
You want to do women's?
Here we go. Yeah. So now we're getting into the overall standings. So obviously, with any of these, you could have looked at Strava and seen the standings yourself. But now we're gonna reveal the calculated points. Okay.
So
So
the way we're breaking this down is we got a overall, which is men's and women's. And then we're going to give the women some respect and give them a trophy for the overall women's because I think they deserve that. Even though Raquel's kicking the boys, but not all women are going to be able to do that, and that's only fair. Would you agree?
yeah, I think that's fair.
So
So here,
obviously,
so here's the women's standings, and so far there's only 6 people. So if you're a woman who rides one wheels, get out there because you could get on the board.
yeah.
And I know, I think I've met all of these people except for Raquel. So Brenda is from San Diego. She came up with the rest of the San Diego crew. Tori is also in San Diego. Allison, San Diego. Allie. Jennifer is an LA person. She got her time on the whoops. And she was actually there with Drew yesterday when he got his top time. And
Nice.
then Pearl's my friend, and she rode the whoops as well. So a little bit limited just because there's less female riders overall. But it's a good
I
start.
think that's going to change. We'll just have to motivate some girls, some ladies to get out there. A lot of them were kind of made their name at Vegas because they were already there. So there's a few of them from Vegas. I mean,
Right,
they're
right.
not from Vegas, but they got their name on that
They got
track
on that
because they
track, yeah.
got there. So yeah, I mean, Raquel, and the thing is, you don't have to necessarily make first place. There's going to be some really cool stuff. Like you said, just get your name on the board if you're a lady on the fence. Get out there.
Yeah. So nice work, ladies. Okay, and now we will reveal the overall standings. So it'll be like where we put in the drum roll. And here it is.
Boom.
Jeff, number 1. Neil, number 2. Austin, number 3. Travis, 4. Raquel, 5. Dave, 6. Floaty, 7. Daniel, 8. Tied with Max for 8. Soulrider and Jamie tied for 10th. Drew in 12th. Devin 13th. Kyle 14th. Neil 15th. Then we got a three-way tie on 15th. Neil, Paul, and Isaac. 18th places, Victor and Teddy. Three-way tie for 20th. Jamie, Tim, and Jordan.
Nice.
So yeah, that's an impressive lineup of people right there.
So I want to just make so you'll see the little number in parentheses. Basically, that is your average between tracks. So you're lower the average or the higher the average, the better. So basically, if you get say first place on 2 tracks and you have 8 points, divide that by 2, and you're going to get 4. So that's a high number. That's how we're going to break up the ties. I want to mention that it's very important that if you want to be a reckoning or a threat on the overall standings, it ain't going to happen on 1 or 2 tracks. You've been on more than one. You know how that goes. You have to ride multiple tracks.
So what does it mean if somebody doesn't have the parentheses number next to them?
They just have, so like a good example is, well, one, I only did that for ties, right?
Okay.
It was only a tiebreaker. But also like say 15th place, Neil, Paul, and Isaac. They both have 3 points because they got second place on a separate tracks. So there really is no way to separate that. They have one run and 3 points, if
Okay.
that makes sense.
Yeah, the
Um,
tiebreaker's a little kind of confusing, but we'll definitely have it figured out.
yeah, I mean, we had to have something because if we didn't, you would see that we would have a ton of people kind of bunched up. But we'll be more and you know it's so early, this can widen out and we might not even need these tiebreakers. But for now, basically get out there. The higher you score on your trails is where you're going to get the tiebreaker. So if you're getting first, second, or third, and somebody else like myself has rode 7 tracks and I got 7 points, you're going to beat me in a tiebreaker. We want to motivate people to ride more tracks than one, but at the same point, we're going to give benefit to the guys that are, ranking high on the standings.
Yeah. All right, so
So,
that's the standings. I think, well, I mean, our goal is to do a video like this once a week, but we'll see how that goes.
yeah,
I think next week we're both at Shredfest, so that probably will be like a bye week. But
yeah,
hopefully right after Shredfest. I mean, there is a bit of time that goes into calculating the scores. So shout out to you for doing that.
it's a little more
Adding up
time
all the
consuming
points.
than I expected.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
gotta. I mean, you gotta have to look at all 10 leaderboards, figure out
yeah.
point values for each of the places. Um, but yeah, I mean, we're having fun doing it.
And,
You know.
and disclaimer. I think it's pretty accurate, but if I miss a point here or there, just hit me up and I'll fix it. If I miss a point, like, hey, I should add 4, not 3.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
hit me up. So
There could
we
be.
got we got almost 2 months to figure this out. So it's not necessarily something that has to be dead on right
Yeah.
now.
Well, yeah, it's a good
But I
reminder. I mean, this does end on August 1st, so it's like there's a finite amount of time to get out there and ride the tracks. So plan your trips. And don't wait too long. Get out there and ride them.
yeah,
Def,
and it
you know,
it goes faster than you think.
yeah, and
It's June. It's mid-June, so I mean, it sounds like a long time, but it really isn't.
yeah, and definitely what will happen, I would think, is that you'll run it and you'll put times down and you'll be happy, but then maybe somebody will bump you and you're gonna want to go back and run it again. And a lot of times it's like you figure like, oh, I know I can shave some time on that turn or that straightaway or whatever. So don't
Yeah.
wait. Get out there and ride them now.
Plus, conditions change too. As it gets hotter and drier, I find that the tracks get worse. At least Fresno does. So,
Yeah, and there's the risk
yeah,
of them getting, rutted out by other one wheelers or mountain bikes or whatever. Um,
yeah,
so yeah, I think we're good for now, right?
yeah.
All right.
All
So
right, man.
Onewheel Underground Circuit. Get out there and race.
See ya.
See ya.